cast your minds back to the 10th of July 2002. There were thousands of Wimbledon fans waiting to come in here for what would be the start of another chapter in our amazing history. Got the programme here, but more importantly, I've got two men who were instrumental to getting that match on. Kris Stewart, who was our chairman during the time, and Bruce Elliott, who was the chairman 2 decades ago and still is. So guys, talking 20 years ago now, but what's your sort of resounding memories from that evening?
From the night itself, I think it was a bit of a blur at times, wasn't it, Bruce? I mean,
Yeah.
all the lead up to it, we'd been wondering how big it would be and thinking, getting more and more confident that it was going to be something fairly big. But even at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I don't think anybody had said 4,500, had they?
No, I don't think so. I think Ivor was fairly near. He reckoned about 1,000. So that's how near he got. He revised the estimate, I think, by doubling it to a couple of thousand, a bit nearer the time when the publicity machine was rolling, because it wasn't only about the first ever game for AFC, it was also about franchising football clubs, wasn't it? There was, a definite vote, and people were voting by turning up, and there were placards, I remember, to that effect on the night. But no, I don't think any of us would ever have expected that sort of number to turn up.
Not at all.
But there was a good build-up to it as well, which I'm sure we'll cover later.
Yeah, there was a great build-up to it. It was really enjoyable.
Yeah.
And on the night itself, I think we had a lot of friends here as well as Wimbledon fans. A lot of friends, I know a Stockport fan who was here. I know, fans of other clubs who were here to be part of something and to show, what they thought about the decision that had been made and how they wanted us to succeed. That was fantastic.
The other thing I recall is that I'm pretty sure the referee had to put the kickoff time back at least once. I think twice actually.
It was.
I think it was meant to be a 7:30 according to the programme. Chris?
Yep, that's
Is
correct.
that right? Yeah, 7:30.
And I think the first time it was 7:45, and I still think people were turning up because it was a Wednesday evening, wasn't it? So people have been at work, so the 7:30 was a little bit early for some of them. But then I think we had to put it back again till 8 o'clock to prevent some sort of riot, really. So
I was on the pitch, on the phone to Radio London, I think, and Trev Williams said, refs putting it back again for another quarter of an hour. So I kind of announced that live on London radio. I think
but that's always great, isn't it? When you're involved in a football club and somebody turns around and says, the referee's put the kickoff back because of the crowds waiting to get in. Happy days. I mean, that's got to be good news, hasn't
absolutely.
it? That's how it works. So just remembering back, Chris, to how this all started and how the match actually happened, because I think I probably have to take a bit of responsibility there, because I think from what I remember, I think Ivor had sort of got it in his mind that the best first game would be here at Sutton. And I certainly had come to the thought, following the formation of the new club, how nice would it be for Sutton United to also have a little bit of the history with AFC by being able to stage the first ever game. And I think a few phone calls were made and a few meetings, and I think it almost fell into place from what I remember.
I seem to remember there was a couple of other things. I seem to remember that your groundsman wasn't necessarily hugely keen, because you were using the pitch a fair bit at the time. I think you had a fair few teams using the pitch, didn't you, regularly? And then 10th of July fairly early for coming back after the summer. So I think you had to sort of put his arm up behind his back.
Yeah, I think when we talked about it and we obviously looked at the dates, I don't think it was that other clubs were using the pitch at the time, because the pitch would have been a grass pitch then, of course, long before R3G. So that would have been the groundsman having been promised so many weeks in the summer to get the pitch right for ready for the following season. So I think that was one of my concerns when we actually chatted, that one of the hurdles was to talk to the groundsman, explain to him that this is a bit special, and to be fair, if I remember correctly, absolutely good as gold. Understood it, football man, knew what was being talked about and how good that would be, not only for you guys but also for us as well. And I think an awful lot of people moved heaven and earth. And I think the other thing we were a little bit concerned about when we were talking, and it's all very well just talking about it, isn't it, and assuming that everybody's going to be around to help. You know, all the volunteers, which is how we've always run the club. You know, a lot of them would have been on holiday. It was very short notice for a game, so we had to get stewards organised, you know, programme sellers, etc., etc. But yeah, I think, look, it was total collaboration between the two clubs, and I always remember one of the things. Oh, now programme, and I think my heart sank at that point when I think Ivor, or maybe was it Mark who was doing the programme, said, well, actually, look, I'll tell you what, why don't we do the programme?
Take that off your
take that off
back.
us. We've got enough to organise here with stewarding and, you know, the bars and a room for the press conference beforehand.
Absolutely.
You know, that was rammed in the Vice President's lounge.
Yes, it was, wasn't it? Yeah.
I remember them all sitting there, and yeah, so I think there was a bit of relief there when it was suggested that AFC did the programme production.
Sure.
Right, that's one less thing.
Okay, that's one thing off. And you've seen the programme. These are your copies, Bruce, aren't they? That
you're welcome to them. There are a
thank you
couple
very
of spare copies there. So
okay, well, they're £2 each, so what do I owe you?
well, if you want the two, you can have them for £3.
Excellent, thank you very much.
I think there's a few pictures of you in there, actually, Chris.
Oh, there might
having a little
really?
flip through.
Well, a £5 each. Then. But yeah, that was.
Yeah, this takes me back. It really
good,
does take me back. This is.
And you know, there'd been a lot of connections
Fantastic
between
stuff,
the two
isn't it?
clubs anyway before this had happened.
There you are.
So.
Yourself and Ivor.
God, wasn't I young then, eh?
Oh,
wasn't
weren't
I?
we all? We all got a few more grey hairs.
Yeah.
Now,
I've got lots of-
So here we are. I might not be Joe Sheeran, but this is where the teams came out ahead of the match. I suppose the next question to ask, Chris, whereabouts were our fans for the game?
Everywhere, really. I mean, you know, there were other people here as well. There were obviously Sutton fans here. There were, as I said, you know, friends from around football here. But I can think of some people who I know who were there, and then that was an open terrace previously, so there were definitely some of my friends over there. Yeah, everywhere around here. It felt quite a few on the pitch actually.
There was
Some
no
small children.
segregation, was
No
there?
segregation.
No
need
segregation.
for-
It was just
no
a
need for anything
pre-season
like that.
friendly.
Just
and
friendly. Yeah.
It was just a friendly.
Absolutely.
You know, with a capital F, wasn't it?
Yeah,
You know, there was
yeah.
never any doubt that was going to go smoothly. There was
No,
never gonna be
no one had any
problems
concerns
at
on
all.
that front at
No,
all, none whatsoever.
And then what were your sort of respective feelings when obviously you went to the centre circle before kick-off and just saw how full the ground was? It must have felt
Yeah, I blame
amazing
you
sense
for
of
that.
achievement.
That's your fault. We were going to do an announcement. I'd scribbled a few words just to say, you know, how proud we were to be staging the first ever game for AFC Wimbledon, and you know, wishing you well as a club. And we were going to do it, if you remember, from the back of the stand, from the press box. And I don't know who to blame for it, but I think you're here, so we might as well blame you for the fact that somebody had the great idea of taking the microphone on the pitch, middle of the pitch. So there's 4,500 plus people here. It was absolute chaos that night, wasn't it? And you know, I found myself dragged out there kicking and screaming, and quite a daunting prospect actually. I don't know whether you recall that, but I thought, well, you know, this is a bit special.
It happens very often, isn't
And
it?
you don't do that very often,
No, not
do
at
you?
all, not at all.
But I remember a lot of balloons as well going up, and it was quite.
Yeah, we had a load of balloons. We had a picture. There's another picture I've seen quite a few times, which is a flag with people. I think I managed to kneel in front of it. Yeah, if I'd tried that now, I'd never get up again, obviously. But, yeah, no, I had lots of things. You know, on the phone to radio stations. There was all those cameras and reporters in the press conference beforehand where we showed the shirt for the first time. Joe Sheeran coming out.
Yes.
In a shirt that was maybe a tiny bit too big for him. I don't know if anyone remembers that, but it was about that big. We had to tuck it in right behind him.
Oh, right. No, I
We
don't
weren't
remember
wearing
that.
it, but we knew what it was going to look like, you know.
Because that was the announcement of your sponsor.
It was indeed, yeah. Sports
Who
Interactive
is
sponsoring.
still your sponsor.
Absolutely, as
20
Football
years
Manager, yeah,
later.
they are. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
incredible. The support they've
Yeah.
given us over that time is extraordinary, and that's been part of, you know, along with lots and lots of other people and lots of other organisations that have been, you know, part of helping us to get to where we are.
I remember the press conference was in the vice president's room here. And I remember that was absolutely packed, wasn't it? There was film crews, there were reporters, and I think you were there. Ivor was there. I think
Terry Eames, Joe Shearing.
That's right. Yes.
I think who else was on that
Yeah.
picture? Yeah.
But,
That's another picture I see every now and then. Think I used to be a lot younger.
Yeah. Well, I don't think with all the planning in the world, you know, and we did try and plan it between us as efficiently as possible, but I think with the best planning in the world, we could never have envisaged what it was going to be like. I sort of liken it almost to when we played Arsenal a few years ago here in the FA Cup. You know, all the planning, we got it all sorted, best of our ability, and then suddenly on the night, it sort of suddenly almost overtakes you, you know, with what's going on. And of course, the shame of it is, on occasions like that, the whole evening goes so quickly.
Like that.
And before you know it, it's over.
Yeah.
But I always remember to this day that you never bought me a drink that night. So, and you're okay now because the bar's not open, so you can't even rectify
I tell you what, give me a shout on Saturday.
Saturday,
and let's see what we can do.
You'll probably be on the far side, won't you, Saturday? So, and obviously we're looking forward to Saturday because that's the first league match between the two clubs, isn't it? In the 20 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've managed to avoid each other, either us going down or up, and you just going up.
Yeah, so we had that Pizza Cup game, didn't we?
Yeah. Papa John's.
Papa John's.
Yes.
Sorry, let's get it right.
Exactly. Maybe cut that bit out, you think?
Maybe.
Sponsors are looking, you never know. And of course the FA Cup, which I wasn't going to mention.
I wasn't going to mention it either, funnily enough.
Which is why I actually concentrated on just saying this is the first time we played each other in the league match.
Yeah,
so it'll be quite an occasion on Saturday, I think.
Again, you know, doing again what I always think. You know, what happened in 2002 was a terrible thing. What was done to us was a terrible thing, but it's given us the opportunity, people like me, the opportunity who missed out on our rise, you know, previously to sort of experience that again. But what we haven't had over that 20 years is a local rival.
No.
A proper local rival that we play often and, you know, in different competitions and so on and so on.
Yeah.
And you know, I think Sutton are the closest to that, and I think, you know, Saturday's probably the closest we've really had to a proper league derby, you know.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, the same for us in recent years, certainly. And you know, I suspect it will be a sellout, won't it, on Saturday? We've certainly sold all our tickets. Could have sold more. So there's obviously a huge amount of interest in the game, and you know, why wouldn't there be? You know, if this game on Saturday doesn't attract a full house from both sides, then there's something wrong, isn't there?
Yeah, I think there is. I mean, it's. We always think it's incredible what we've done, and you know, I think that's fair, but actually, you know, I remember talking to you back then. You didn't have any thoughts about being a football league side at all. That wasn't on your horizon. That wasn't part of your master plan.
No, I think it's been well documented that you know, we had the 3G pitch. People have said, well, why did you put that down? You know, because you've had to rip it up early. Well, of course, in our heart of hearts, did we ever expect to be a football league club? No. We knew that if there was ever a possibility, we'd have to take the 3G up, which is exactly what we did. But our ambition had always been, and it's, as I say, it's been well documented, to play at the top level of non-league football. And Matt's taken us into the Football League for the first time, and obviously we're thoroughly enjoying the experience. Been quite stressful at times, taking up a lot of time.
Plenty to do.
But you'd never swap it, would you? You always want to be playing at the highest level you possibly can, and you know, that's why Saturday's going to be such an occasion. And the return game, 1st of January. You know, 1st of January, New Year's Day, home to AFC Wimbledon. So you know, that's another hopefully really special occasion. Whatever happens on the pitch, you know, it's often about a lot more than that, isn't it? Obviously the result's important, of course it is, but you know, I think the connection between the two clubs has been you know, has gone back long before
absolutely,
the formation.
yeah. I mean,
you know, the 63 Amateur Cup final when I was very young.
I wasn't going to mention,
you know. Well, might as well. So it's one of the 4 Wembley finals we've managed not to win, but but there's a lot of connections between the two clubs, and as you say, how nice to have a local derby, sort of 5 miles down the road. So, because there's a lot of travelling in this league.
There is a fair bit of travelling.
And,
What's the furthest you've been so far?
Well, I suppose Carlisle, Barrow.
Carlisle.
You know,
Barrow's a long trip, isn't it?
It's a
not quite as
long
far away
trip,
as
but we
Crows
played them
ones,
in the
but-
conference as well.
Sure.
And
sure.
obviously we've done a lot more overnight trips now since we got into the Football League. But that's part and parcel of it, isn't it? If you're playing at this level, you're travelling all over the country. And that's quite good, actually.
Oh, it's great.
I mean, it's
fantastic.
expensive, but let's not go there. But from a point of view of the camaraderie and the team bonding, etc., it's been excellent. So you just have to throw yourself into it, don't you?
Of course,
And get on with it.
Like you say, you'd never swap it for anything else, would you? You might not be completely prepared for it. There might be an awful lot you didn't.
It might
quite
not go your way
realise.
on the pitch.
It might not go your way on the pitch every time.
Happens, but
No,
if it does, it does. So you prepare as well as you can, and you get there in good time. So you don't travel on the day to Barrow. Although we used to do that.
Did you really?
We did do it a few times. Yeah,
That's
in
a
the
heck of a
conference.
journey on the day.
Yeah, on the day. So a bit of an early start, but so now we've moved on a little bit and trying to do it a little bit more professionally, which means obviously you're travelling on the Friday
Sure.
and then you're there and thereabouts for the Saturday. So no, it's all good, all
Good.
enjoyable and all very positive. So and as I say, very much looking forward to a special occasion. On Saturday.
I mean,
So-
without with no disrespect, I would much rather we weren't playing you. Because we're playing you because we got relegated, and that's
of course
a disappointment.
Yes.
A significant disappointment. But
Yeah.
at the same time, it's
Yeah.
as I said, it's great to have a real local derby in the league.
And it gives a good opportunity just to celebrate the 20 years
Yeah, it does.
anniversary
Yeah.
as well,
Yeah.
doesn't it? And it's been excellent, thinking back to some of the things on that night and the build up to it and what happened afterwards. 'Cause if I remember correctly, ours was the first game, but I think you played another 7, 8, 9.
We played a lot of friendlies,
Pre-season
and lots of friendlies. And we
yes.
didn't score
Yes.
for a while either. I missed one game that whole pre-season and season, which was the game we scored our first goal. So I actually missed that.
Of course, you deliberately obviously not mentioned that lad who scored 2 goals for us on that game, then we pushed him over to you, or allowed him to come to you, or you nicked him. I can't quite remember.
Who
how it
knows? At
happened,
this remove,
but,
Bruce. Who knows?
Kevin
exactly
Cooper,
what
wasn't
happened.
it?
Kevin Cooper,
Yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
I mean, he ended up scoring a few for us.
I know he did, yeah.
A few for us. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think.
You never did let him come back to us, did you?
No, we didn't. We had a special clause in his contract that he could go anywhere apart from. No. I mean, and I think that maybe that night was part of what obviously you could see that there was something exciting going on, and it's interesting to take a look at it. I think actually one of your players on the night probably played more games for us than anybody in our team that night.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, it'd be interesting.
so.
Statistic.
I'd have to
check
check
one.
that.
I'll
but I
leave
think
that one
might
with
be-
you.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But no, all good stuff. So
Gents, it's been
Good.
an absolute pleasure to get you both together. I think the best way to finish this is with a handshake between you both, and wish each other the best for Saturday, I guess.
all the best.
All the very best.
Yeah, it's been excellent to see you again, Chris.
And you.
And a bit of reminiscing doesn't
Yeah,
do any
yeah,
harm,
you
does
can't
it?
beat it, can
No,
you? Can't
exactly.
beat it.
So
Very nice.
thoroughly enjoyable. So
Super stuff.
yeah,